There are moments in life when the world falls strangely quiet, so quiet that even your own breathing feels too loud, as if the air around you is waiting for something or someone. Moments when a shadow in the corner doesn't feel like a trick of the light, but presents something watching you with eyes you can see, something close enough that your skin tightens in fear before your mind can understand why. Tonight, you're about to walk into 3 true, close encounter horror stories that will remind you how thin the veil is between the world we know and the one we pretend doesn't exist. But inside that terror, hidden within every chilling detail, lies something powerful. Lessons that don't just haunt, they strengthen. Lessons that remind us that even when darkness approaches, our instincts, courage, and faith burn brighter than we think. There's a certain kind of fear that doesn't scream, doesn't rush, doesn't explode. It creeps. It whispers. It announces itself through a shiver before it ever reveals a face. That fear is our earliest warning, and the people who have survived true close encounters, those who have stood one heartbeat away from danger or fun, say they knew something was wrong long before anything physically happened. Intuition saves more lives than we realize. It's a gift placed inside every human soul, a compass pointing us away from the things trying to harm us. That feeling in your gut, the sudden stillness in your chest, the sense that the night has eyes, it's not imagination. It's protection. It's survival. It's God's whisper saying stop before the darkness says, got you. One such moment happened to a young woman named Mariam. She lived in a peaceful neighborhood, the kind of place where the nights were usually soft and predictable, filled with distant dog barks, humming streetlights, and the occasional passing car. She returned home one night after meeting a friend. Everything looked normal, the familiar glow of her porch light, the quiet warmth of her small garden. But as she approached her front door, searching her bag for the keys, she felt a strange sensation wash over her. It wasn't fear at first, just discomfort, like walking into a room where someone had been fighting moments before. An invisible disturbance. Wrongness. When she touched the door handle, she froze. It was warm, too warm. Not from the sun, it was night. Not from the house. It was cold inside. The warmth felt human, recent, like someone had been holding that handle seconds before she arrived. She told herself she was imagining it, but the unease in her stomach twisted tighter. Something inside her said no. Not tonight. Don't go in. Don't open the door. She stepped back, just a few inches, but those inches saved her life. She called her brother, whispering that something felt off. He arrived 10 minutes later. He unlocked the door slowly, pushing it open with caution. The house was silent, but not empty. Muddy footprints led from the doorway into the living room. Chairs were slightly moved. A curtain swayed, as if someone had touched it and left in a hurry. Someone had been inside. Someone had either escaped through the back when they heard her arriving, or worse, someone had planned to meet her face to face in the dark. Her voice shook when she later said, "If I had walked in alone, I don't know what I would have met." Intuition saved her life before danger ever had the chance to reveal its face. We often think fear is useless, but it is not. It is a compass. It is a shield. It is the oldest form of wisdom our ancestors passed down without words. But fear doesn't exist only to stop us, it exists to show us our strength. The world has shadows, but so do we. It's easy to forget that when something terrifying stands inches away, when the night feels too deep, when footsteps echo behind you in a place where no one should be walking. Fear doesn't take away your strength, it awakens it. One hiker learned this in a desolate forest in Arizona. As he made his way along a narrow path, he noticed a tall, thin silhouette repeatedly appearing between the trees, always mimicking his pace, always stopping when he stopped. Panic begged him to run, but he knew running would make him prey. So he inhaled, gathered the trembling pieces of his courage, and walked forward steadily, refusing to break. Later, rescuers found claw marks and strange footprints all around the path behind him. Whatever had been following him wasn't human, but the courage he forced himself to hold on to kept him alive long enough to escape the forest. Sometimes bravery is nothing more than refusing to run, even when your bones are screaming for you to flee. Isolation magnifies fear, especially when you think you're completely alone. But the truth is, something always watches, whether it's danger or protection. A security guard working alone in a massive building during the night shift once felt this firsthand. The air grew cold in a way that didn't make sense. He heard soft footsteps echoing from a corridor that was supposed to be empty. His flashlight revealed nothing, so he returned to his desk, uneasy but silent. Hours later, when reviewing the CCTV footage with his supervisor, his blood ran cold. The footage showed a pale figure standing inches behind him as he inspected the corridor, so close it could have reached out and touched him. He didn't panic earlier, and that calmness saved him. Fear may be real, but panic is optional. Panic blinds, calmness protects. Some doors stay closed for a reason, and curiosity is not always bravery. A teenager in a rural village learned this when strange knocking started coming from the inside of a locked storage room in his ancestral home. Thinking it was an animal, he opened the door one afternoon. His breath stopped. The room was empty, but scratches began appearing on the wooden walls right in front of him, as if an invisible set of claws were carving through the wood. He ran screaming. The elders sealed the room with rituals, and the knocking never returned. Some things are not meant to be invited. Some darkness is meant to be left where it is. But not all encounters are evil. Sometimes shadows appear to save us rather than scare us. A man driving through a thunderstorm saw a woman standing in the middle of the road. Her clothes were soaked, her hair draped over her face. He slammed the brakes and opened his door to help, but when he stepped out, she was gone. Vanished. Confused and shaken, he took one step forward, and a massive tree came crashing down onto the road, right where his car would have been. Whoever or whatever he had seen wasn't trying to hurt him. It was warning him. Protection sometimes comes from the very things we fear. Courage isn't always loud. Sometimes it's the quiet decision to stay alert, to stay together, to hold on to someone's hand and face the unknown as one. Two friends camping in Canada felt footsteps circling their tent in the middle of the night. Slow, deliberate steps. Not a bear. Not an animal. Something. Thinking. Instead of rushing out blindly, they grabbed their lights, stayed still, and worked together. They aimed the flashlight upward and froze at the sight of a gray-skinned creature crouched on a high branch, its limbs twisted at impossible angles. The moment the light hit it, the thing leapt away into the darkness. Their unity saved them from something that didn't fear noise, but feared light. Even when darkness surrounds you, you are never truly alone. A taxi driver in Karachi once picked up a mysterious passenger who sat silently in the backseat. Halfway through the ride, the man vanished, literally evaporating before the driver's eyes. Terrified, trembling, the driver pulled over and prayed with shaking hands. Later that same night, another driver reported seeing the same figure, warning him just seconds before another vehicle would be slammed into his car. Maybe that figure wasn't a threat. Maybe it was a guardian disguised in a frightening form. Light always fights back, no matter how small the spark might be. A group of students staying in a hostel heard something scraping beneath their beds night after night. At first, they ignored it. Then they feared it. Until one night, one of them finally whispered a prayer aloud. His voice was barely steady, full of fear, but sincere. The scraping stopped instantly. Silence filled the room with a peaceful heaviness, and they never heard the sounds again. Darkness can touch you, but faith repels what fear cannot. These stories, these encounters, real moments from real people, carry lessons deeper than their terror. They show us the invisible strength we forget we have. They prove that intuition is not a weakness, that fear is not an enemy, that faith is not merely hope but protection. They remind us that courage often appears in the most fragile moments, and survival often begins with a whisper, a prayer, or a single step backward when something inside us says, wait. They teach us that even when shadows draw close enough to breathe across our skin, our spirit carries a light that darkness cannot steal. And in this complicated world, where the unseen often walks closer than we realize, that inner light might be the greatest shield we have. May you walk through every shadow aware, protected, and alive inside your own strength, guided by intuition, guarded by faith, and watched over in ways you may never fully see.